Hello, hello, hello. Okay, so it's been a bit. I need to get back on a pattern of doing this every day, but here we go. Um, Israel Hamas deal, New York and New York City, New York Comic Con. So something good, something we'll see, and something a review. So Israel Hamas deal. Good job. You got the deal. Um, I don't think anybody thinks this is a permanent end to the conflict between Israel and Palestine in the Middle East. Nobody really believes this is going to last long term, but it doesn't need to. Um, Policy advances or policy wins are always short term. There is no such thing as a government policy that works forever. Now, let me go back on that a bit. Eisenhower's highway system was a long-lasting thing. They're not that common. Something like a peace deal, it gets it off of Trump's docket, which is great. It makes him look good, which is good. The hostages get back, which is great, and it's a good thing. It could work. Like having a party of like having a committee run it that's not Israel and not Hamas is probably the best you can really do. It's a good idea. Maybe it works. I don't think it's going to work long term. I don't think anybody thinks it's going to work long term. But Trump deserves a lot of credit for it. It was something he promised, and it's something that he got. Now, you said there'd be peace in the Middle East between Israel and Gaza. Took him 7 months longer than expected, but looks like we got it, at least for now. So good job, Trump. It is funny how all the people who are protesting in favor of Hamas are weirdly quiet right now because you guys said you wanted peace, right? You wanted like Palestine not to be wiped out and not to be like genocided. Shouldn't you guys be like really, really happy with Trump right now? Like overjoyed that the war is going to end? Shouldn't you be like really, really happy about that? Now, there are a few people who are saying, well, we'll see if the genocide stops or whatever. But it is amusing how quiet the pro Hamas left of being right now. They should be happy about this, but they're not because they never really cared about Hamas. They just hated Israel because Israel is a Western civilization in the Middle East. And they just hate the West. They just hate Western civilization. They don't care about people. They don't care about poor people or people being. No, they just hate the West, which is so suicidal. So because their belief system is only possible in the West, which is what they are. They're basically a suicidal death cult, like certain groups in that area. But we'll see how it works out. It looks like they got the hostages back. That's a permanent thing. But he's kind of glossing over what kind of horrors they went through over their time in the tunnels. But they're back, which is good, I guess. And that's kind of like one of Hamas's main cards. So Hamas seems pretty dedicated to this working out, at least for now. Um, I think if they just have a bigger barrier between them, like I'm not saying that's a permanent fix, but having a 10-mile difference instead of a 1 mile difference between the two countries that want to kill each other seems like it could work. I still like the idea of giving Saudis a railway through Lebanon, through Saudi Arabia, to get to the Mediterranean Sea. So they have a trade route that can't be blockaded by Iran, and they would have a motivation to keep that area safe and demilitarized, so that they can maintain their railway, have an economic incentive in order to um, keep peace. That is still a good idea, but for now, this is good. It's a win. I think everybody should be happy about a win. There's enough bad things in the world happening that when something actually gets negotiated, it should be applauded, just universally. So that's basically all I really know about it. I We'll see how negotiations continue. Both sides seem pretty committed, and there's the old joke you can make that it was easier to make peace between Israel and Gaza than between Republicans and Democrats because we have that continuing shutdown happening, which is still not resolved. So, what's really, really funny about this whole thing is that the fact that Trump was able to make Israel and Gaza agree on something kind of takes away any blame on him for the whole shutdown standoff because he made peace between the two peoples who hate each other the most. So anything that's happening in Congress, if that's more difficult, that's not that blame doesn't go on Trump now. It's stupid, but it's true. So I went to New York for a convention, and so I'm kind of separating this into two parts. So New York is an amazing city. It was hopping. There was all the bars had a bunch of people in them, at least in the areas we were in. Went with a friend of mine. Really, Japan. Sorry, New York is really really nice. What was nice is I've been to Japan. I've been to New York a bunch of times. My friend is definitely a Japanese aficionado. He really likes Japanese culture, anime, weeb. He's like an alpha nerd. So we got to see a bunch of the stuff that he knew about in the city. So we got to see Sunrise Market, which was basically a Japanese food place where you can buy different like box, you can buy different foods and stuff. That's all Japanese, the Japanese style. We went to a Japanese manga like bookstore. So the lower floor of the bookstore is actually normal books. Then if you go one floor up, it's a bunch of like English translations or Japanese originals of manga, like novels, anime paraphernalia, all that kind of stuff. Really, really cool. We went to a convenience store called Tenichi, which is apparently there's a few of them, which basically a Japanese convenience store in New York. And then on the way back, we went to a place called Matsuba, which expensive. It's basically a Japanese Wegmans. Um, got buckwheat noodles for $2, which is pretty good. But the other thing we got is we got ramen because they had a ramen stuff. They're really, really good ramen. A bit pricey, like $13 of ramen. It's a bit high, but it was really, really good. And they also had all like different things you wouldn't get other places, like daifuku, which is like a basically a pastry, like a rice pastry thing, and then inside of it you have like paste or something, like a green matcha paste. Then you have it wrapped around a strawberry. All really, really good. I'm gonna actually have that probably after this. But it's just really, really cool to see a different side of New York. Um, Now there are also obviously problems. We got off the train station in Chinatown, and we walked past somebody basically dying of a fentanyl overdose. Um, there was nobody there, nobody in the train station to call for help. There was no like person there. We looked for people. It's and then we went upstairs, and more people passed out. Really, really dark and really, really surreal. Really, really sad. Um, I don't know what you're supposed to do in that situation. I just don't know. Um, we booked. We didn't book. And we called the help thing. There wasn't anything to call. Like there needs to be a button that says emergency. Somebody passed out, you know? And also you see the trash, there's trash and stuff. But overall, New York is a good place to be. I'm really trying to move up there shortly. Um saw a bunch of bars, some good pubs. There's a place called Tommy something. That was a really good bar. Very Irish themed. What else was there? There was this place called Break Bar, which is really, really nice. Basically, it's a place where you go and get drinks. It's just a bar, couple foods you can get, like a bag of like a thing of chips and sauce or whatever. But what's really cool is you could basically take the glasses. There's a packed room where you basically they have a separator that separates you from the glass exploding. You throw it against the wall, and they also have a projector, but they put different people you might want to throw glasses at. Explodes. Really cool. Really, really cool place. It's a nice gimmick, but the drinks were not any more expensive than any other place. And the breaking the glass comes free with it. I think because you have to give your email address, it's probably what justifies it. But really, it's just a fun gimmick. So that was all just a blast. What else happened? Bagel, pizza. We went to Two Brothers Pizza. Two Brothers Pizza is somewhat. It always gives me like this searing pain in my stomach for like 30 seconds, sometime the next couple hours. There's no good pizza, I guess. And then I got bagel, coffee, Cafe Luna in was a really, really good place. I like any place that gives you a piece of biscotti with your coffee. It's nice. But really, it was just nice to see the different Japanese matsui, all the Japanese type stuff in New York. 'Cause I haven't ever seen that before, and you can't really get a lot of that like stuff outside of Japan. So New York City, I'm definitely going to be going to all these places again. Really, really cool. And so up and down, some really, really dark stuff in New York, some nice stuff. It's just when it gets down to it, it's nice to be able to just walk and walk and walk and walk and be on all these different streets. And still have it continue to be walkable. Really, really nice. I never felt in danger in New York. There were some crazy people, but you just walk past them. Finally, New York City Comic Con. Honestly, it is nice that it is in New York. You cannot take away from the fact that it is a convention in the middle of New York City, so you can enjoy all the New York stuff that we talked about before. Is a convention kind of weak, to be honest. Now, first of all, it's depends what kind of nerd stuff you're into. Like, I'm into anime and games, and there's some of that, but not that much. Um, so, I mean, I'd be dressed up as anime characters, of course. Actually, I dressed up as a Star Wars character, Jedi once, and then the other day I dressed up as Gintoki from Gintama. He's a big wave. It makes it fun. But when it gets down to it, there's the big store for it, which is cool. But there's not really anything else you can really do. Like the panels, you have to have reservations for, which is lame, and or wait in line for an hour and a half, which is lame. And then the storefronts, like they're cool. Like I got my glitch souvenir and everything. I got a couple, and I got one poster, which is nice. When it gets down to it, there isn't that much to do. They go to MagFest, they go to NYC Anime, which is same convention center 2 months earlier. They have rooms where they just play anime, which is fun. So when you want a break, you can just sit down and watch the cartoons. It's great. And the panels, a lot of the panels you just walk into, which is great. You see somebody draw something in real time, draw like an animation or whatever. It was cool. It was really, really cool. And then that's NYC Anime. Then you go to other places like MagFest, which is amazing. You have like a whole wall, you have a whole floor of arcades you can play. And some from Japan, some older ones, all kinds of stuff. Then you also have a video game area where you can play video games, and like there's 10 setups of Super Smash Brothers. You don't have to play in a controller. And then there's a board game room. You can play board games with random people if you find a group. And then you have there's just so many different things to actually do by yourself or with you join a group, or whatever. It's so much fun. Even Katacon, same kind of thing. There's like panels and stuff you get. Magfest mowing panels, so you don't have to get reservations for it. NYCC, there was just the only thing you can really do would be buy stuff. And like there was some cool stuff, don't get me wrong. Like the storefronts are cool. Just the whole vibe is cool. Like conventions are always fun. But as a con, on the weaker side of things I've seen. I've seen probably 7 or 8 probably seen 8 conventions at this point. It was cheap though, as far as getting in. It was like $120. So it was a pretty affordable con, which is nice. And also, we were able to find a really cheap hotel room. Hostel. There was a hostel. It was like $100 a night, and you got 2 beds. It was great. Um, and then there was only one other room on that floor to share the shower with. So like my buddy was like, "Oh, it's a shared shower." I'm like, "No, it's not. A shared shower is when you have 3 different showers next to each other and you have a curtain, like in a regular hostel. This was like basically private. This is really nice. Um, No common area though, so that's a weakness. But for just staying in New York, Charles International Hostel, really, really nice. Especially you basically get your own room. That's amazing. Especially for sleep quality. Mostly, the other thing that was interesting is I made a definite. Oh, the other place we saw there was the Barcade, which is like a few blocks away from the hostel. It was just a bar, but they have a million they have like 10, like 15 arcade games set up. Just a cool place. I got the other thing I was able to try is that I didn't completely do it. I basically had a mostly NA weekend, so no alcohol. So it was interesting trying all the different options for that. And then finally, you see, there's a lot of stuff we did. We went to this bar called Decibel, which is like a underground bar. You just kind of walk in. Very, very, very cool place. There's a sake bar, so it's a sake bar. I got sake, okay, but really, really nice place. Did a lot of cool stuff this weekend. Definitely one of my top weekends of the past 2 months. It's just good to get out of Dodge. It's so easy to get kind of run down if you just stay in the same place for too long, especially if you don't have a family or different stuff to kind of keep you young. So you have to do things like this, and you just have to do it. Do it anyway. Cheers. So yeah, that's the Hamas deal went well. New York, ups and downs, but mostly a cool place. And NYCC, cool that it's in New York. Decent convention. If you're looking for a convention experience, I'd go to MagFest or Katsucon or an anime one instead. Just a bit more focused on actually giving you stuff to do as you go through the day. Anyway, that's all I got. Cheers.